it's back, guys. The Learn to Play series is resuming. And we're looking forward to episodes 11 to 20 to be coming through. So if you remember, the original goal from episodes 1 to 10 was I was going to go from being very green to being a big noob at dueling, and I was hoping that I was going to become, you know, pretty decent. And I think over those 10 episodes, if you look at the 10th episode, that was a recap of the first 10 weeks, I think I achieved it. I think I became a pretty decent jeweler. So for the next episodes, 11 to 20, I'm hoping, and I hope this isn't a stretch, I'm going to put in a lot of time into dueling, a lot more than I was in the first 10 episodes. I'm going to become one of the better jewelers on the faction, which is going to be easier said than done. And that's because I've just moved to Delos, and I feel like the quality of PvPers on this server is higher. For example, here, this redhead Sura guy is, I'd say, arguably the best jeweler on the server. And the guy that he's fighting, Trippy, it's a bit of an interesting story. He contacted me in-game and said to me that he used to play a tank, and then watching my videos inspired him to start dueling and to do melee, which I thought was pretty cool. And so then we kind of got in, this is because I just moved to Delos, so then we got in touch, and I thought that, I was like, okay, let's have a duel, and then this is what happened. So that was good. But yeah, he's become one of the best jewelers on the server as well, especially one of the better bruisers. So the quality of jewelers on the server is pretty high. So trying to say, hey, I want to become one of the good ones is, you know, it's going to take a lot of commitment. So, but I do want to discuss that. I actually had quite a few people contact me. When I say quite a few, I mean like 4 or 5 people contact me when I came over to Alice, and they said, I didn't, you know, play melee before, and then watching your videos made me play melee, which is really, really awesome. Like, that's so good. I just can't believe, I was really surprised so many people contacted me just on the server, so that was really, really cool. Definitely a massive compliment, and yeah, it's just cool that my videos are like making people want to play melee. I just think that's wicked. But I do want to say that if you come and duel me, don't expect like some god tier pro jeweler, you know, like I'm still learning the game. A lot of the times when I'm showing videos, like there'll be a lot of times that I lose, and I'm showing like the one where I've like learned a lesson. So in order to show that lesson, I have to show like the one that I lose, and then one where I win, where I kind of adapted a new strategy. So, you know, I just don't want people coming in and thinking like I'm still an okay jeweler, working on getting good. I just don't want anyone to be like disappointed if I'm like, you know, they come to jewel me and then I'm like not that good. So just bear that in mind. I'm happy to jewel everyone, and I love people contacting me and telling me that they are inspired by the videos and that I've made them want to play melee. But yeah, if you do come and jewel me, just, you know, just keep your expectations in check. Alright, let's get down to business. So I basically came to Delos, such an epic server. It's going to be so exciting. It's like a super server now because everyone's come to the same server. I'm on the Oceanic, so Australia, New Zealand, Asia kind of server, and all the big guilds have conglomerated onto this one server, so there's going to be some real interesting fights happening, so I'm quite excited for that. But in terms of my dueling, I've had 3 weeks off, obviously, where I was playing mage and I was playing bow, and I haven't been playing melee. So when I came back, I've just found that I've just been missing my hits. I've been really slow with my dodges, so constantly getting stunned. Yeah, just basically, it was just very, very hard getting back into the rhythm. It's just like, on week 10, I left doing good in dueling, and I feel like since I've come back, I've definitely regressed. So 3 weeks off hasn't been good for me. I did feel it sort of starting to pick up towards the end of the week, though, so that's kind of positive. So yeah, just sort of kind of trying to get back into it. Next week, I'm really, really going to focus on it. And so here are some of the lessons, though, that I learnt this week. Some of the things that I picked up that I can do to sort of improve my gameplay. So one of the things that I noticed was that I was rushing through my attacks, which actually made me quite vulnerable to getting stunned. So you can see here, this is how I was fighting. So you can see I'm just like chaining together my attacks, and I'm not really stopping. And what I found is if I take a little millisecond pause, like a very brief moment between each attack, that allows you to kind of read what your opponent's doing and also respond, because generally it gives you just that little millisecond gives you time to respond to their CCs a lot better. So you can see here I'm sort of slowed down like a lot more, but it makes a big difference in terms of being able to counter people. And you can see that quite clearly here. I'm actually dueling one of my guildies, and he hasn't dueled for a long time as well, so he'd normally kick my ass. But I really just show this video because it's a good example of how I've slowed things down. I'm not rushing my attacks, and so I'm able to dodge his CCs because I'm able to read them quite well. The other thing too is by slowing things down, you're not running yourself out of stamina, which is like super helpful as well, because you're just taking those milliseconds. It's quite good for stamina management. Now, the thing I noticed here is when my positioning isn't very good. So I've put it into slow motion. You can see here I dodge, and then I don't turn around, like I'm just hitting at air, and then I dodge again, and then I'm hitting at air. Now, granted, he is getting out of my way, but I've noticed quite a few times I'm doing that where when I'm dodging their CC, I think the next thing I need to do is dodge and turn so that I can just carry on hitting them straight away. Here's like another good example of the same thing with the positioning. So this is fighting Chippy, who, as I've already mentioned, beats me far more times than I beat him. So here we go here. I've put it into slow motion, and you can just see here he dances circles around me, like I'm hitting in the air. He dodges, see now he's hitting me, he dodges and hits me, but I'm just hitting into the air. When I dodge around, I'm not facing him. I keep like, he keeps being able to reposition behind me. See, like both times, I'm like dodging and not facing him, and he's dodging and facing me. Somehow, I managed to turn it around, which, yeah, I don't know how. I got very lucky, but yeah, so that's an example where I want to start focusing on that this week to really start working on my positioning. However, one of the areas I have been doing really well in lately is OPR. And when I did that little brief millisecond pause, when I applied that brief millisecond pausing technique to OPR, my survival increased dramatically, as did the number of the kills that I was getting. Because often if you take a little millisecond pause, and I'm just talking a very brief pause, it allows you to sort of just take in everyone that's around you, what they're doing, and I was just able to dodge a lot of the stuns that people were trying to get off of me, which allowed me to like basically just survive for like a really long time. So that's been really cool. So yeah, I'm showing this clip here. They're trying to push in really hard, and we're trying to defend. I'm trying to stick in our heals so I can just keep my health up. I've got this mage blimmin' blowing me away with his fire. I'm just pretty much trying to ignore him because, you know, there's bigger priority targets right here. And I'm just trying to get as many people down as quickly as possible. And so I go into this guy here. I can see he's low on health. I'm trying to finish him off. Still got that frickin' mage on me. So I'm going up to him, I'm putting pressure on him. Now, as a brawler, I don't think it matters if you necessarily get the kill so much as you want to dominate the area. So right now, my job is to dominate this node. If people want to run away out of the node, then job done, you know? So he's still on me, that mage, but I've got a kill, so I'm finishing people off, trying to put some pressure on the reds, but I suddenly realize I'm like the only person left, so like, I bail out of there. So in this scene, I see someone quickly running around the corner there, and I think it's the healer, so I go to save them, only to realize it's my duo partner, Leo. So if I'd known that, I would have left him. But, you know, yet again, I have to come and save him. But you can see he runs off like he normally does, and then I'm left fighting 3 people. But with that little pause technique, I actually managed to give them as much as I can and finish them off. And then there's another example where these guys come and try to attack me where I was just minding my own business, and yeah, basically it's just really working. Taking those little milliseconds between attacks allowed me to finish these 2 people off. One of these is a healer, so I was kind of a little surprised when they ended up dead on the floor, but it is what it is, and I'll take it. So yeah, OPR has been going well. So in terms of OPR, the two tactics I've been working on lately, which I think, and that people, well, not really lately, I've always done it, but the biggest key to success, I think, with OPR, especially with all those muskets and bow people around, is using line of sight a lot. So you definitely want to just be hugging those walls because it allows those ranged, the mages, the bows, the muskets, to find it hard to attack you, and you kind of want to keep moving. It also allows you to get them out of range of the healers. I mean, at the moment, this guy's getting heals. We've got a musket person firing on us. It's not an ideal situation, so I move close to the rocks. You can see that I'm telling Leos, like, we need to reposition. And then you can see this guy coming around. He goes on top of the rock to try to get the musket. But see, we're starting to break them up, and that's what you want to be trying to do. Like, now this guy's all alone. He doesn't have the healer on him, and then we can apply some pressure on him. So, of course, it's just hard to catch him because I'm in medium armor. But yeah, just using line of sight like that to kind of break them up, it allows you to get distance on those ranged attacks. It breaks them off from their healers, and then when you kind of capture them off. The good thing about the melee class is it has a lot of burst potential. So when you do manage to capture them alone, you can finish them off. Now, because we've wiped some of them off, obviously that's 2v1 at the moment, so we don't have to worry about line of sight. So we're just kind of working on finishing this guy off. Okay, and so then we come back to the rock because the musket guy comes out. So we just don't want to be standing out in the open. We want to force him to have to come up to that rock so that then we're closer to him, and he's finding it harder to hit us. So he obviously falls for the trap. I can see the melee guy coming back out, so I think I'll just go focus on him. And Leos goes to focus on the musket dude. So I just get on him, get him into a CC within the vortex, and then I just go through my rotation to try to burst him down, which works. Then Leos is focusing on the musket guy, so I finish him off. Leo skills off the musket dude behind me, and that is the end of the little fight. Okay, so the other thing I think really to focus on if you want to do well in OPR is, and not a lot of people probably focus on as much as they should, but it's certainly helpful, is, you pay attention, obviously, to line of sight. Like, that's a bit more of an obvious one, because it allows you to stay out of trouble. But look at all these green circles on the ground. You should see that like you see line of sight. Like, that to you should be a part of the landscape. So that tells you a lot of information. Firstly, it tells you the healers are nearby. So you can get into the fight knowing that you've got support. It sort of also shows that you're not out of range of the healers. So what I always try to do if I'm going into a fight like this is I try to just be like, okay, where are my healers? They're over there. Really, really careful, important not to overextend. Like, you can see, as I come out of here, it would be very easy to be focused on all those ranged attacks that are standing there just firing on you. And if you didn't have that healing support there that you could stand in, then you're gonna get wiped. So just really focusing on where those heals are, almost like it's a part of the landscape, is like a really, really important thing to be able to do. So I think that wraps it up, everybody. Episode 11, Learn to Play Bruiser, is underway. Next week, I'm definitely going to be doing a lot more focus on dueling, putting in the hours, and yeah, new server. A lot of people have come over, including my guild that I was. So I've just changed factions as well. I've gone to Syndicate because I'm joining this guild that I've been waiting to join for ages. We've all moved to a new server. It's so exciting. All the top PvP guilds are there. It's pumping. It feels just like a whole new game. So it's just, yeah, it's going to be epic. Really looking forward to the next 10 episodes. I had my little fun with the range classes, but it's time to pick up that axe and start putting in some skills. So yeah, thank you everybody. I'll just let this little video finish off. I'll see you later. Thanks.